We are back with Chris from Newt Industries. It's been about 2 years. Chris, what has changed about your upcoming game, Risk System?
It has been completed, and that is a very big change. So we've been getting everything sewn up, smoke tested, getting rid of all the bugs, adding accessibility options, and just making it the absolute most complete it can be.
For those of us unfamiliar with Risk System, what exactly is it?
It's a science fiction-based action game, and it's about encouraging kinetic and aggressive gameplay. So you're on the offensive, whereas a lot of games in the shmup genre are more inherently defensive, where in those games you're finding the one safe spot. This is more of finding opportunities to put yourself in danger to make yourself stronger.
So when you're dodging bullets, what exactly are you building up? I notice there's a meter on the screen.
The meter, that is your barrier breaker meter, so it's like an excess reserve of energy that the ship has. When it reaches its max, you can use the barrier breaker attack, which hits everything on screen, including enemies in the background or otherwise out of range. The surplus energy that you get while you're actually collecting energy from enemy fire can be fired directly back at them in the form of your normal shot, but at triple strength.
And now we're back with Chris, but not the same Chris, from Newt Industries. What exactly has changed for Risk System since we last saw 2 years?
We've moved it to a different engine, which is a pretty significant port, so we could get it to more platforms. Lots of bug fixing and expanded all the levels out. It's pretty much a complete product now, so we're very happy with the way that it's turned out.
So when it comes to making a side-scrolling shooter, a lot of it has to do with pacing. I know you have a little bit of randomization. How do you find the right feel for each stage without overwhelming the player, but also keep them engaged?
A lot of our mechanics are built upon each other, so what we try to do a lot of the time is introduce new concepts one at a time in a way that's digestible. So like you'll notice in the very first level you spend a lot of time with dialogue while you're learning to just move the ship up and down or whatever. But as the game goes on, we tend to believe you've learned more and more, and we can put more at you faster, and that just continues till the end of the game.
Now, last I saw you, I believe you only had about 2 stages. Where are you at today?
We were up to our full 6 stages. A lot of the game is that it's not about content, like quantity, as much as like you'll play a level, do okay, but want to do better. The game is rewarding in that way. It's easy, it quickly will recycle you, so you can always replay levels to get your S ranking, but there's different endings depending on how well you do. If you get the S rating all the way through, you get a different ending, a better maybe ending.
I'd say about a third of any given mission has some degree of randomization, but it's nothing that makes any obvious advantage or disadvantage through any playthrough. It's just a minor variation on positions or formations of the enemy, so you can't just completely rely on like muscle memory. You have to reflexively adapt. So you're always engaged to some degree, but you're never dealt a bad hand.
Now, I can see from the trailer back here, the visuals are pretty eclectic. You have a lot of different environments. How do you find yourself keeping everything distinct and yet legible? Because you have a lot of flashing going on in this game.
It had to do with making adjustments based on feedback from other players, because people did point out in some of the earlier builds that were strictly pixel art based that it could hurt to look at it. So what we did was we started adding transparencies and softer shapes, sort of pyrotechnics of the game. We wanted everything to be instantly recognizable because of the speed of gameplay, but we wanted to rely on things that weren't just 100% on or 100% off flashing. So that's where the transparencies come in, and like colors gradually changing from one state to the other, but also changing in value as to account for the color blind. So there was a lot to consider in making the visuals both legible and actually immediately communicating stuff without being just a complete headache.
So Chris, Risk System looks great, and so we'll see it before May 17th?
Yes.
Yes.
We're going to hold you to that. Risk System coming before May 17th. When's Garbage 2?